Chapter 386. Let's do some barbecue. When he returned home, it was already completely dark. Zhang Xiaolong checked his watch. It was past 7:40 p.m. Captain Zhang, have you eaten? Little brother, we saved dinner for you. Sister Qian made it herself. The sound of Zhang Xiaolong opening the door startled Li Qian and Jiu Feng, who were reviewing their schoolwork next door. The two put down their textbooks and, seeing that Zhang Xiaolong was back, spoke at the same time. Oh, I haven't eaten yet. Having known each other for so long, they were colleagues, neighbors, and friends who interacted frequently, so Zhang Xiaolong spoke honestly without being overly polite. Then go back to your room and sit down first. Jiu Feng and I will bring the food over for you. Li Qian felt a surge of joy, and a gentle smile involuntarily appeared on her face. She pulled Jiu Feng and returned to her room. Jiu Feng and Li Qian spent every day together, and Jiu Feng had long realized that this beautiful policewoman, who looked like a seemingly celestial fairy, had developed genuine feelings for her younger brother. She saw through it, but didn't expose it, only needing to help matchmake them in secret. It was just that her precious younger brother focused wholeheartedly on work, was rarely seen all day, and sometimes disappeared for 10 days or half a month. She wondered if Sister Li Qian could endure until the moment her brother finally wised up. Zhang Xiaolong returned to his room, washed the muntjac meat with water, and placed it in a basket nearby to drain. Later, he planned to cut the muntjac meat into small chunks, skewer them onto wooden skewers, and then barbecue them. It would probably be ready in just over an hour, perfect for Ninth Sister and Li Qian to eat as a late-night snack. After all, studying every day is mentally taxing. He should make some grilled skewers for them to replenish their nutrition and allow their brain cells to be fully and quickly supplemented. Captain Zhang, the food is still hot. Hurry up and eat. Li Qian placed the bowls and dishes on the Eight Immortals table and said softly. Jiu Feng followed her into the room, set down the 2 dishes she was carrying, and said playfully, Little brother, Sister Qian reheated the food twice. We finally waited for you to come back. When Jiu Feng said this, Li Qian immediately felt her face flush and secretly glanced at Zhang Xiaolong. Seeing that he had no special reaction, her wildly thumping heart finally calmed down a little. Zhang Xiaolong wiped his hands, came to the table and sat down, nodding to Li Qian and saying, Thank you, Sister Qian. I'll treat you to grilled skewers later. Although there was only 1 meat dish, the meal was still very hearty. On the table were 2 dishes and 1 soup, shredded potatoes with green peppers, scrambled eggs with chives, and a stewed hen soup. Zhang Xiaolong was indeed quite hungry. His stomach had long been rumbling in protest. Now, seeing the steaming hot food on the table, he felt his appetite surge, picked up his bowl and chopsticks, and began to feast heartily. Little brother, are you going to make roasted muntjac meat? Jiu Feng was immediately surprised and delighted when she heard about the grilled meat skewers, and asked, MHM, you too are reviewing your lessons every day, which uses up brain cells. I'll make some grilled skewers for you to replenish your nutrition. Thank you, little brother. Sister Qian and I are going back to study now. Take your time eating. Captain Zhang, should I pour you a glass of water? Li Qian saw him gobbling down the food and was afraid he might choke, so she changed her phrasing when she asked. After asking, she didn't wait for Zhang Xiaolong's answer, but walked into the kitchen, took out the thermos, and poured a cup of hot water for him. Thank you, Sister Qian. Zhang Xiaolong hadn't expected Li Qian to be so thoughtful, and he felt a trace of warmth in his heart, so he spoke with gratitude. It's nothing. I'm going back to study with Jiu Feng. Take your time eating. Li Qian immediately felt her steps become lighter as she pulled Jiu Feng next door. After finishing the meal, Zhang Xiaolong quickly washed the bowls and chopsticks. Since he was making grilled skewers, he needed sticks, but he definitely didn't have metal skews or bamboo skews. Zhang Xiaolong could only select a highly resilient wood from his spatial storage, utilize spatial power, and cut the wood into a pile of wooden skews. He took out 50 wooden skews, washed them clean in water, and then cut the muntjac meat into small square shapes. He then threaded these chunks of muntjac meat onto the wooden skews. It's a shame there's no barbecue grill at home. I'll have to take the iron pot off the cast iron stove. Zhang Xiaolong muttered to himself, casually removed the iron pot, revealing the firebox of the cast iron stove. Zhang Xiaolong moved the cast iron stove downstairs. Barbecuing certainly couldn't be done indoors. Otherwise, the heavy greasy smoke would make a mess of the house. He put some coal into the firebox and spent a few minutes lighting the coal with dry branches. The fiery red charcoal emitted intense heat waves in the hot summer. The previously arrogant mosquitoes and insects now kept their distance from Zhang Xiaolong, having been forced back by the heat waves. Zhang Xiaolong returned upstairs and brought down the oil, seasonings, and meat skewers. The charcoal in the cast iron stove burned hotter and hotter. Zhang Xiaolong saw that the stove fire was vigorous, a perfect time for grilling meat skewers. So he placed the skewers in his hands over the fire and began to grill them. It's really tiring without a barbecue rack. I have to hold a bunch of skewers in each hand and keep flipping them. He decided that if he wanted to eat grilled meat skewers, he needed to find a blacksmith shop and ask the blacksmith there to help him forge a barbecue rack. That way, barbecuing would be convenient and easy, and he could grill anytime. He wouldn't have to carry the nearly 200 jin cast iron stove up and down the stairs anymore. Soon, the muntjac meat on the skewers began to drip oil and moisture under the intense heat of the stove fire. The rich muntjac oil dripped onto the charcoal, making sizzling sounds. The aroma of the roast meat also spread through the air. Fortunately, Zhang Xiaolong placed the cast iron stove downwind and kept it as far away as possible from the residential buildings of the family compound. Moreover, it was past 9 o'clock, and most households in the family compound had already turned off their lights and gone to bed. Only then did the fragrant smell of grilled meat skewers fail to attract the attention of the family compound neighbors. My choice was wise. Otherwise, if everyone was drawn by the smell of the grilled meat skewers, I wouldn't be able to eat alone. After all, everyone here is a colleague from the bureau, comrades who have faced life and death together. I can't let them just stare while I eat grilled meat skewers. Zhang Xiaolong thought happily, his hands never stopping as he constantly flipped the skewers he held. As the roast meat gradually shrank, the skewers he held in both hands were combined into one hand. Zhang Xiaolong used his free right hand to grab some seasonings and sprinkle them onto the meat skewers. These seasonings were made by him using ingredients collected from his spatial storage. Although they couldn't compare to the barbecue seasonings sold in his previous life, they excelled in being authentic and completely free of artificial additives and tricks. Whoa, Tilda, that smells too good. I can't take it anymore. Who is talking? A voice came from behind a tree 200 meters away. Zhang Xiaolong quickly turned around and asked. Chapter 387. Have some skewers. No thanks. No thanks. Cough. Captain Zhang, you can hear me from this far away. A familiar voice came from behind a large tree. Li Yuliang, it's the middle of the night and you're not sleeping. What are you wandering around for? Zhang Xiaolong couldn't help but laugh and scold him. It was only a distance of over 200 meters, wasn't it? That wasn't enough to stump him. His hearing was no joke. He had heard footsteps in the distance just now. But since this was a police bureau family compound, some comrades worked overtime at the bureau and didn't return home until this late. Zhang Xiaolong hadn't paid much attention. After all, even if they weren't comrades working overtime, there were other residents in the 9 buildings. It was perfectly reasonable for people to visit a black market or something at night. Cough, Captain Zhang, I'm here too. Another familiar voice rang out. Guoming, how did you two end up together? Zhang Xiaolong felt even more surprised. He flipped the meat skewers in his hand and turned around to ask. Both of them were his subordinates. They couldn't have just come back from the black market, could they? Guoming and Li Yuliang saw that their captain had discovered them because of their quiet whispering. It wasn't good to keep hiding at this point, so they could only bite the bullet and walk over. As the two walked this way, they kept glancing back behind them from time to time. Captain Zhang, we went to the south of the city. Oh, Tilda, not sleeping late at night. What were you doing there? We heard there were very good watermelons for sale there and wanted to join the fun. We wanted to buy 2 watermelons to bring back for our families to taste and cool off. I couldn't tell, but you two actually have some filial piety. Zhang Xiaolong thought to himself, my guess was right. These two really went to the black market, and what they wanted to buy was actually my own watermelons. Isn't that a coincidence? It seems my watermelons have already made a name for themselves in Anping County. Just now, Sister Xiang wanted to use my own watermelons to entertain me as a guest. This director, he from the Grain Bureau, is truly my lucky star. If there are any fruits or supplies that need promotion in the future, I can completely sell a portion to the Grain Bureau first. This director, he would naturally help promote them for free, and the results would definitely be beyond words. What are you two looking back at? Something's not right. Why do I feel like you two are acting sneaky? Zhang Xiaolong brushed some oil on the skews in his hand. When he turned around, he happened to see his two subordinates looking back toward that large tree again. He didn't know what was actually behind the tree. Both of them had just said they didn't manage to buy any watermelons. Could they have bought other supplies and hidden them behind the tree? His Tilda, that shouldn't be the case, right? Could they be afraid of me finding out? Zhang Xiaolong shook his head, thinking it was unlikely. Li Yuliang and Guo Ming's character could still be trusted. After all, they had been together for so long, and both had honestly admitted to going to the South City black market. They wouldn't be secretive over a few supplies. Cough, that... Li Yuliang said hesitantly. Captain Zhang, Political Commissar Li, and the others are also behind the tree. Him tilde what? Political Commissar Li? And, Zhang Xiaolong was stunned for a moment and only came to his senses after 10 seconds. He thought, this can't be. I just wanted to grill some meat skews, Tilda. I specifically chose such a sheltered spot, far away from the family compound. How could this still attract so many colleagues? Was it the smell of my grilled meat that was so fragrant? Or were their noses just that sharp? He shook his head somewhat speechlessly and glanced at the meat skews in his hand. They were already grilled to a golden brown and tender, ready to eat. Besides Political Commissar Li, who else is there? Cough. There's also Director Liu, Director Zhu, Director Qin, Principal Chen, and Captain Liu. Guo Ming named 5 people in one breath. Then his eyes stared intently at the skews, looking very much like he had the urge to grab a few and taste them. Zhang Xiaolong held the skews, looked at the pitiful eyes of his 2 subordinates, and gave each of them 2 skews, saying, "These were grilled for my sister. You 2 taste a couple first. I'll grill more for you in a bit." He tilde thanks. Captain Zhang. Slurp tilde sorry. I didn't mean to drool. My stomach is really a bit hungry. Forget it. Hurry up and eat while it's hot. Zhang Xiaolong laughed and scolded him, then took the meat skews and walked toward the large tree. He didn't know what the situation was with the bureau leaders, wandering around outside in the pitch black. And how did Principal Chen end up mixed in with them? What a coincidence. Weren't these 6 people the same ones I sent the muntjac meat to? Ha tilde comrade Xiaolong. Brother Xiaolong, your grilled meat is very fragrant. We're just taking a casual stroll. We'll head back to sleep in a bit. Cough. The weather is too hot. Don't you feel hot? Yeah, my undershirt is almost soaked with sweat. I'll have to take a bath before I sleep when I get home. Who would have thought that several main leaders of the Anping County Police Bureau and the principal of Anping County Middle School would actually hide behind a tree watching Zhang Xiaolong grill meat skews? Now that they had been discovered by the person himself, the atmosphere was instantly a bit awkward. Zhang Xiaolong walked closer and could already see the 6 of them clearly. He saw that without exception, they all had protruding bellies and a hint of post-drinking redness on their faces. His tilde Director Liu and the others aren't fat, so why are their bellies? Oh, I know what's going on. Zhang Xiaolong suppressed a laugh. If he could laugh, he felt he might laugh until he got a stitch. Director Liu and the others must have eaten too much tonight and couldn't lie down, so they came out to walk and digest. Thinking carefully, it really should be like that. 9 catties or so of muntjac meat in the height of summer couldn't be allowed to go to waste by rotting. So, Director Liu and the others must have frantically feasted on the meat and sipped a bit of wine, leading to them being too full. If they didn't digest it, never mind lying down to sleep, even sitting there would be uncomfortable. Thus, the several of them were wandering all over the family compound. Unknowingly, they were attracted by the light from the barbecue over here. Then, the 5 of them gathered together. As for his 2 subordinates, they probably really did encounter one of them by chance and followed them over for the walk. In a flash, Zhang Xiaolong had analyzed the general course of events thoroughly. Good evening, Director Liu. These are skews I just grilled. The smell is very fragrant. Come and have a taste. Liu Xiangdong repeatedly backed away while waving both hands, politely declining. Cough, cough, no thanks, no thanks. I'll try it next time I have the chance. Xiaolong, you give it to old Zhu and the others to taste. Hey, Tilda, old Liu, you can't be like that. You know yourself you're uncomfortably full. How can you let us, cough, cough? Director Zhu had a slip of the tongue and hurriedly pretended to cough. Chapter 388. So they were stuffed. Zhang Xiaolong deliberately pretended not to know they were stuffed and offered to meet skews in his hand one by one. But in the end, not a single person reached out to take them. Atilda direct to Liu, why aren't you all eating? Is my barbecue not fragrant enough? Zhang Xiaolong held back a laugh and continued his serious performance. After all, they were all colleagues, and an occasional small joke was harmless and could even strengthen their friendship. To make his performance more realistic, he took a skewer himself, took a bite, chewed a few times, and nodded repeatedly, saying, "There's nothing wrong with these skews. They are truly fragrant, tender, and refreshing. Are you sure you don't want to taste? Then I'll take them back for my sister and the others to eat." Liu Xiangdong and the others actually nodded at the same time. That's a great idea. Young people should eat more. Let student Ju Feng eat more meat. It will help her review for her exams. Xiaolong, don't worry about us. Hurry back and give the barbecue to your sister. Yes, we're used to staying up late. We'll just stroll around the yard and chat. Zhang Xiaolong could hardly hold it in anymore. If it weren't for his extremely strong facial control, he would have burst out laughing long ago. All right then, leaders, please continue your walk and chat. I'll take my leave. After Zhang Xiaolong left, Liu Xiangdong and the other 5 finally breathed a sigh of relief. Let's stop looking. This barbecue is incredibly fragrant. I'm afraid if I stay, I won't be able to hold back and will end up eating more skews. My stomach can't handle it. Right. Let's get away from here quickly. This place is way too dangerous. How is Comrade Xiaolong so talented? Just some random skews, and he makes them smell so good. I almost couldn't hold back and reached out for one just now. I thought I was the only one with that urge. I didn't expect you to be the same. Ha ha ha. Let's go. It's more important to digest our food properly. In the night, the 6 figures gradually moved away. Zhang Xiaolong watched direct to Liu and the others walk away and finally couldn't hold it anymore. Although he didn't laugh out loud, his face was clearly twitching. Eh? Captain Zhang, what's wrong with you? Guo Ming had finished his skews and looked like he wanted more. Seeing his captain like this, he felt strange. It's nothing. Just thought of something funny. You, too, have a few more skews. Thanks, Captain Zhang. Hee. We're heading back too. We have to work tomorrow. HM, not staying for more? I can grill some more. Thanks, Captain Zhang. We'll come back for your skews next time. Guo Ming and Li Yuliang weren't the type to be ungrateful. In the middle of the night, if they really let their leader keep grilling for them, wouldn't they be completely clueless greenhorns? Zhang Xiaolong didn't stop them, nodding in farewell. He put the skews back on the charcoal fire to reheat them. Then, with skews in one hand and the cutting board with oil, salt, sauce, vinegar, and seasonings in the other, he turned and went upstairs. Knock, knock, knock. He lightly knocked on the door next door. Within seconds, Li Qian opened it. Captain Zhang. Sister Qian, these are the skews I just grilled. Take them and eat, then get some sleep. As he spoke, Zhang Xiaolong handed the fragrant skews to Li Qian, and then closed the door behind him. He went to his own door, opened it, put the cutting board back in the kitchen, and then went downstairs to carry the cast-iron stove into the kitchen. The cast-iron stove had sturdy heat-insulated handles on both sides, making it easy to carry. Of course, this was only for someone like Zhang Xiaolong, who possessed extraordinary strength. An average person couldn't move such a cast-iron stove, let alone with glowing red coals inside the firebox. After easily finishing all this, Zhang Xiaolong closed the door, tidied up the house, turned off the lights, and returned to his space. The little golden snub-nosed monkey had slept for a while and had already woken up. Zhang Xiaolong held the little fellow, teased it for a bit, then fed it spiritual chi pond water before putting it back in its nest. You black bays, why do you tremble all over every time you see me? You make me look like some cold-blooded butcher. I'm just providing you with a good living environment so you can have cubs and continue the black bear family line. Ahem, although I might slaughter a few black bears when I need to, that's not the norm. Besides, I'll prioritize going into the mountains to hunt black bears. So, you don't need to be so afraid of me. The black bears understood Zhang Xiaolong's words, but they still didn't dare to look up at him, lest they be slaughtered for meat by this two-legged beast if they weren't careful. Zhang Xiaolong found it funny and walked over to the fence of the black bear enclosure, patting the large head of a male black bear. This male black bear began to shake like a sieve at a visible speed. In those bear eyes, there was an expression of extreme terror, even a sense of despair. After being fed for these few days, the black bear's fat had gradually peaked. When it shook, waves of fat rolled across its body. Zhang Xiaolong was both annoyed and amused. He slapped the male black bear. What are you panicking for? Good grief, after I slapped you, you're actually shaking less than before. Forget it. I won't tease you anymore. It's no fun, Tilda. I'd better go do some combat drills with my beast pets. An hour later, the beast pets were slumped on the ground in exhaustion, and Zhang Xiaolong, the master, wasn't much better off. As the 2 tiger pets grew larger, and with the 18 wolf pets and 2 tiger pets joining the fray together, Zhang Xiaolong found it increasingly difficult. Without using lethal force, he could only fight the beast pets to a draw. However, since he started battling the beast pets, Zhang Xiaolong found that his agility and reaction speed seemed to have improved significantly. Even his combat experience was incomparable to what it had been a month ago. What he didn't expect was that the beast pet's combat experience and team fighting abilities had also improved immensely. This would be of great benefit for future hunts. Therefore, Zhang Xiaolong secretly decided that for a long time to come, he would continue these combat drills with the beast pets. Zhang Xiaolong emptied his mind for a while, resting his head on Qian's soft belly, his feet propped up on Pajuan's large head, his left hand stroking Big Gray's head, and his right hand holding melon to munch on. This life was so pleasant that even if he were offered the life of an immortal, he wouldn't trade it. 10 minutes later, Zhang Xiaolong got up and went to the 3rd level of the space, washed up under the spiritual energy waterfall, and changed into clean, fresh clothes. He casually washed his dirty clothes and used spatial power to dry the moisture from them. Chapter 389. In the name of the military sub-district. Zhang Xiaolong returned to his stone house, folded his washed clothes, and placed them in the stone cabinet. Whoa, it's already 12:30. Better get to sleep. At this rate, I'm going to turn into a night owl. Lying on his stone bed, Zhang Xiaolong didn't stay idle. He used his mental intent to tidy up the space once more. Only then did he peacefully drift off to sleep. Anyang Prefecture. Inside the station of the Anyang military sub-district troops. Commander, there is something I would like to report to you. Regimental Commander Zhao Yedong knocked on Qin Zhengyang's office door, gave a military salute, and spoke. Qin Zhengyang set down his work, glanced at his subordinate, and said with a frown, Yedong, what's on your mind? Out with it. Don't delay my work. Division Commander, a comrade from our regiment's guard platoon, Xiong Wei, went into the mountain to gather herbs while on leave. Zhao Yedong gave a brief account of the events leading to Xiong Wei's rescue. So, the reason Xiong Wei could keep his life was entirely because Comrade Zhang Xiaolong risked his own life to save him. Upon hearing this, Qin Zhengyang's expression turned serious. He stood up and poured a cup of water for Zhao Yedong. He then paced back and forth in the office before saying after a long silence, So, what are your thoughts? Zhao Yedong held the teacup and was about to lift the lid for a sip, but hearing this, he quickly put the lid back and said, Division Commander, a soldier from our unit has received such a great kindness. We can't just act like it never happened. Don't you agree? Otherwise, if word gets out, how will our brother units look at us? And the various departments in the prefecture, won't they think our military sub-district lacks proper etiquette? Zhao Yedong poured out all the thoughts he had been harboring over the past few days. Qin Zhengyang stopped in his tracks, one arm crossed over his chest, the other hand rubbing his stubble-covered chin. Yedong, Why didn't you tell me about this sooner? Also, I think your consideration of the matter is very detailed and thoughtful. Our military sub-district cannot pretend to be ignorant of this. Since you brought it up, you must already have an idea. Let's hear it and discuss. Commander, I believe we must write a letter of commendation to Comrade Zhang Xiaolong in the name of our regimental headquarters. Ideally, we should also present a silk banner. Only then can we show how much importance we place on this. Seeing that the division commander was moved, Zhao Yadong stopped drinking his tea, set the cup on the table, and spoke his mind. Qin Jingyang remained noncommittal, lowered his hands, and sat back down in his chair. Yadong, I just praise you for being thoughtful, so why have you become muddled now that the moment has come? Zhao Yedong believed he had some insight into the commander's temperament. The commander would only stay standing when he was weighing a decision. When he sat down, it meant he had already reached a conclusion. At such a time, one only needed to follow the commander's lead. There was no need for unnecessary additions. Zhao Yedong also pulled up a chair and sat diagonally across from the commander, saying with a smile, "Commander, if my considerations were lacking, please criticize as you see fit. I am all ears. Besides, isn't that why I have you here to oversee things?" Looking at the subordinate before him, Qin Jingyang couldn't help but lose his temper. Xiongwei is a man of your regiment. That's true, but isn't he also a man of our military sub-district? Of course he is. Our guard regiment is also part of the military sub-district. Hiss? Commander, do you mean to present the silk banner and write the commendation letter in the name of our military sub-district? Zhao Yedong suddenly realized and asked in quick succession, Tilda, since we're giving a silk banner, we might as well raise the standard a bit to show our sincerity. What do you think? Qin Jingyang picked up his teacup and took a sip of water. That would be wonderful. It would show our sincerity even more. I'll leave this matter for you to handle. Once you're finished with this period's training tasks, you will represent our military sub-district and personally go to the Anping County Police Bureau to present the silk banner to Comrade Zhang Xiaolong. Yes, Commander, I guarantee the mission will be completed. Zhao Yedong stood at attention and saluted, leaving with full satisfaction. Qin Jingyang shook his head with a smile, picked up the fountain pen on his desk, and was about to continue working. The door was pushed open again, and an orderly entered, reporting to the commander. The comrades from the Anyang Prefecture Police Bureau wish to see you. Oh, did they say what it's about? It seems to be about the matter of setting up roadblocks to intercept fugitives. Good. I'll head over immediately. After waking up in the morning, the first thing Zhang Xiaolong did was check the situation toward the agricultural machinery factory. Nothing had happened. So he continued his hunting career from yesterday, heading alone toward Black Bear Gully to the north of the city. The daytime sun beat down on him with a stinging heat. To minimize exposure to the sun, Zhang Xiaolong rode very fast. After about 10 minutes, he had already entered the mountains. It's still cooler in the mountains. Zhang Xiaolong walked ahead, while his beast pets continued to hunt freely. However, the route he took was different from yesterday's. After all, the scent of the tiger and the wolf pack remained on that path, and wild animals would surely stay far away from it. The harvest along the way was quite good. From time to time, the beast pets would return with game in their mouths, handing it over to their master to be put into the space. This time was a little different from before. Zhang Xiaolong had instructed the beast pets to catch more live wild rabbits. He had to think about the future and start breeding wild rabbits in the space. This would prevent the trouble of hunting in winter when prey became scarce and thin. The reproductive capacity of wild rabbits was quite formidable. A single litter could have 7 or 8 bunnies, and they could breed 3 to 4 times a year. If raised in his space, Zhang Xiaolong estimated the breeding frequency would increase significantly. In this way, by catching more wild rabbits now, Zhang Xiaolong would achieve wild rabbit freedom. Naturally, the beast pets did not dare to disobey their master's command. In half a day, they caught over 30 lively wild rabbits, all of which Zhang Xiaolong put into the second level of the space to be raised. In such a large mountain range, why haven't I seen any wild bulls? Could it be that they were also scared away by the black bears? Do they not dare to intrude on a black bear's territory? Zhang Xiaolong had been to this mountain area several times and had changed his route many times. Aside from that group of big black bears and a fierce tiger last time, he really hadn't discovered any large predators. It really is strange. Although Zhang Xiaolong didn't understand, he continued forward, unknowingly arriving at a patch of shrubs. The shrubs were not dense. As he walked through them, he could see his eagle pet circling in the sky above just by looking up. This patch of shrubs didn't look very large, about 2 mu in size, and could be crossed quickly. Otherwise, Zhang Xiaolong would certainly have chosen to bypass it. He didn't want to keep roasting under the sun. Chapter 390, Harvesting Polygonum multiflorum. The beast pets followed their master, panting from the heat. Bear with it. We'll reach that forest ahead soon. Zhang Xiaolong said, patting Po Jun on his right. Po Jun grinned, his long tongue hanging out 7 or 8 centimeters as he followed his master's pace. While walking through the bushes, Zhang Xiaolong suddenly noticed a vine-like plant wrapped around a shrub ahead, covered in small green flowers. Reading excellent books from Taiwan is a superb choice. Excitement surged in his heart. He couldn't help but quicken his pace to the shrub to observe the vine-like plant closely. The vine's flowers emitted a faint, delicate fragrance that was refreshing to the soul. The leaves were shaped like narrow hearts with long petioles, and the vine stem was purple. Wait, doesn't this look a bit like Polygonum multiflorum? Didn't they say there's no Polygonum multiflorum in the North Liaoning Mountains? I've been into the mountains so many times and indeed have never seen it. Maybe it just looks similar. Zhang Xiaolong shook his head, dismissing the thought. To avoid missing out on Polygonum multiflorum, I'll put it into the space first. Once I see the plant's root, I'll know for sure, right? Thinking this, Zhang Xiaolong grasped the plant's root, and with a thought, the plant quickly vanished, entering his space. Zhang Xiaolong returned to the space with his beast pets and carefully examined the plant's root. Good heavens! Why does this thing look somewhat human-shaped? And it's quite large. Zhang Xiaolong fiddled with the root, becoming increasingly certain that this was indeed Polygonum multiflorum. I guess a bird must have brought this Polygonum multiflorum into the deep mountains. Otherwise, Polygonum multiflorum is extremely rare in North Liaoning. Forget it. Why am I wondering where it came from? Since I found it, it was meant to be mine. With a thought, Zhang Xiaolong planted the Polygonum multiflorum in the area designated for medicinal herbs within the second-level spirit herb field. He found a few long, dry branches and stuck them next to the Polygonum multiflorum so it could wrap around them and continue growing upward. Even if I don't catch any prey this time, this is more than enough to make the trip worthwhile. Looking at the newly planted Polygonum multiflorum, Zhang Xiaolong was in a great mood. With a thought, he thoroughly watered it with spiritual chi pond water. Grow, grow, grow quickly. My family's white hair is waiting for you to save it. I've heard people say that eating Polygonum multiflorum can turn hair black, but I don't know if it's true. I'll only know once I try it myself. The flowers on this Polygonum multiflorum have already bloomed. There should be seeds soon. I'll have all the Polygonum multiflorum I want from now on. Once the excitement faded, Zhang Xiaolong drank some spiritual energy waterfall water and gave some to his beast pets. Then, he led his beast pets out of the space to resume hunting. Anping County, South City Black Market. The sweltering weather made one feel very irritable. Ironhead squatted under a relatively shaded eave, the hair on his head completely soaked with sweat. His face was also covered in sweat. He wiped the beads of sweat from his face and flicked them away, instantly leaving a wet mark on the ground. However, the wet mark quickly faded at a visible rate, until no trace remained. This weather is damn hot. Ironhead muttered, looking impatient as he grumbled inwardly. How much longer do I have to stay here? This Scarface guy really is as elusive as the rumors say. I haven't seen hide nor hair of him all day. I don't know what Master is thinking. What is there to talk about with him? If it were me, I'd just snatch him up and torture him. He'd spill everything soon enough. While grumbling, Ironhead kept his eyes fixed on the black market entrance, fearing he might miss Scarface. In the distance, another pair of eyes watched Ironhead from time to time. It was Chen Ming's friend. For the past 2 days, they had been monitoring Ironhead's movements, never letting up even when he stayed at the guest house at night. The one who pulled an all-nighter had been rotated out to go home and sleep. Chen Ming was stationed in the alley outside the black market. If Scarface appeared, Chen Ming would see him first. instead of Ironhead inside the black market. Ironhead didn't know his movements were completely exposed. Logically, as a martial artist, he should have some level of alertness. However, deep down, he didn't take a small place like Anping County seriously. Consequently, he looked down on the various people in the South City black market. But Ironhead wasn't entirely to blame. Chen Ming's group of 5 hid well, and since they already hung around the South City black market, they were more familiar with the surroundings. This made it easier for them to disguise themselves and keep watch. Anyang Military Subdistrict Headquarters. Commander Qin Jingyang had the cafeteria prepare a table of food to host several comrades from the Anyang Prefecture Police Bureau. Director Li, please take a seat. Qin Jingyang pulled out the chair at the head of the table and led the director of the Anyang Prefecture Police Bureau to sit down. Commander Qin, you're too kind. It's our Prefecture Police Bureau asking for your military's help. By right, we should be the ones hosting this meal. Li Weimin said apologetically as he sat down. Qin Jingyang sat next to him. Director Li, there's something you don't know. I'm hosting this meal to thank you as well. Oh, I'm not sure what you mean. Commander Qin, our Prefecture Police Bureau doesn't seem to have done anything worthy of thanks from a great commander like you. As the Secretary of the Political and Legal Affairs Commission of Anyang Prefecture, and concurrently holding the important post of Director of the Prefecture Police Bureau, Li Weimin usually had some interactions with the military sub-district. However, those were merely professional dealings with no personal friendship involved. In particular, there didn't seem to be much overlap between the Prefecture Police Bureau and the military sub-district. This time, the arrogance of the 2 fierce bandits from the Beijing suburbs had already caused the police departments of several provinces to suffer multiple setbacks. Liaobei province was under immense pressure and had issued strict orders to all subordinate regions. If the 2 fierce bandits entered Liaobei province, they must be apprehended immediately. If apprehension proved difficult, they could be shot on sight. Anyang Prefecture, in particular, being the final line of defense to prevent the bandits from entering the mountains, had to maintain comprehensive vigilance. Consequently, the pressure on Anyang Prefecture reached its peak instantly. Several leading comrades of the Anyang Prefecture government were also under immense pressure. They even took the time to hold several special meetings to discuss how to handle the matter.